In this section, we'll review how to multiply polynomials, which will include multiplying a monomial and a polynomial using the distributive property, multiplying binomials using the FOIL method, and multiplying polynomials by distributing repeatedly. So the first type of example is just multiplying a monomial by a polynomial. So in this first example, we have a monomial, which is x, and a binomial, 7x squared plus 4. So to do this, we're just going to use the distributive property. So x times 7x squared would be 7x cubed, plus x times 4 would be 4x. Since these aren't like terms, we can't add them together, so that's the best that we can do. Pause the video, try these two examples right here. Press play when you're ready to check your answer. Don't forget that when you're distributing to apply your exponent rules. So remember that when you multiply and you have the same base, you're allowed to add the exponents, which is why we covered Chapter 8 before Chapter 9. So when you distribute, you get 2x to the 6th plus 6x to the 5th minus 2x to the 4th plus 10x cubed. You don't have any like terms, so you're done, you can't combine. And then here you get 6x to the 5th minus 3x to the 4th plus 12x cubed minus 9, or plus 9x squared. And again, you don't have any like terms, so you can't combine. So down here to multiply binomials, if you recall, we use the FOIL method. And FOIL is just an acronym that helps you decide what order to go in. So the F in FOIL means to do first. So you take the two items that each come first. So x comes first and 3x comes first. So we're going to basically you're just repeatedly distributing. It just tells you what order to do it. So x times 3x would be 3x squared. Bring down a plus sign. The O in FOIL means outer. So if you look at the entire problem, you multiply the two things that are on the outermost edges. So that would be x and 2, which would be 2x. The I in FOIL means to do inner. But what you want to be really careful with is your negative signs. So before I go any further, I'm actually going to change that to a plus negative, because then I can just always bring down a plus sign. I don't have to worry about it. And now I'm multiplying a negative 3 by 3x, because those are my innermost pieces. So that would be negative 9x. And then the L in FOIL means last. So the two things that come last are negative 3 and 2. So we plus negative 6. Now I do have like terms. I can combine 2x and negative 9x. So 3x squared plus negative 7x plus negative 6 is my final answer. So try the next 3 by foiling. Pause the video, press play when you're ready to check your answer. So first, when you can see that you're distributing a, so you get 2a squared plus a, and then you distribute the 3, so you get 6a plus 3, and then you can combine a and 6a to get 7a, so your final answer is 2a squared plus 7a plus 3. So you're really just distributing twice, so 4n times n is 4n squared plus 20n. I change this to plus negative, so then you have plus negative 1n plus negative 5. You can combine these to get 19n. 4n squared plus 19n plus negative 5. Then you have x times 2x is 2x squared plus negative 1x plus 8x plus negative 4. You can combine these to get 7x, so 2x squared plus 7x plus 4. So in the later on in this chapter, we're actually going to go from this answer right here to figuring out what the problem was that would have made that happen. We're going to do this in reverse. That comes later in the chapter. So multiplying polynomials is really similar to what we just did with FOIL. They just don't use an acronym because there's more than 4 steps. But the whole idea is just that it's repeated distribution. You're just distributing over and over and over and over. So before I start, I do want to change my minuses to plus negatives. So I'd have plus negative 7, plus negative 4. And now I just need to distribute repeatedly. So I'm going to distribute b squared to 3b and negative 4. Then I'm going to distribute 6b to 3b and negative 4, and then negative 7 to 3b and negative 4. It's not a very difficult problem, it's just going to be a lengthy one. And the main thing you want to be careful with is that you have your signs correct, and that you're keeping your exponent rules. So I'll try to color code to make it a little bit easier. We'll see how it goes. So b squared times 3b would be 3b cubed. And if you make your minuses plus negatives, you can always bring down a plus sign. B squared times negative 4 would be negative 4b squared Then I would do 6b times 3b, which is 18b squared. 6b times negative 4, which is negative 24b. And then negative 7 times 3b, which is negative 21b. And negative 7 times negative 4, which is positive 28. So now I'm just going to go through and look for any like terms that I have. So I don't have anything like with 3b cubed. And then I can combine negative 4b squared and 18b squared to get 14b squared. And negative 24b and negative 21b to get negative 45b. And then plus 28. So that is the final answer. You can see that it's definitely a lengthy process, but not too difficult. So try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try the 5 problems up through the word problem. Pause the video, press play when you're ready to check your answer. So each problem is color-coded. You can go through, and the first thing that you want to make sure is that after you distribute and all 6 terms match, and then obviously you can combine. So this one should have a final answer of 8x cubed plus 14x squared plus negative 19x plus 3. This could just say minus 19x, and that would be fine. Again, check that all 6 terms match, and then you can have x cubed plus 4x squared plus 5x plus 2. This one would be 6y cubed plus negative 11y squared plus 13y plus negative 15. And again, anywhere you see a plus negative, you can replace it with a minus. 2a cubed plus 9a squared plus 1a plus negative 12. I could also just say a, and that would be fine. And then 6x cubed plus negative 5x squared plus negative 5x plus 2. So then down here we start to get into the word problem. So it says the dimensions of a rectangle are x plus 3 and x plus 2. If it's easier, usually with shapes, you can just draw it. And then it says write a simplified expression. So first of all, we want it to be simplified when we're done, which means do anything that you can do. Expression, we're not going to have an equal sign. And then probably the most important thing in here is that it's area. And we already know it's a rectangle. So to find area of a rectangle, we do length times width, or base times height. And in this case, the length would be x plus 3. The width would be x plus 2. I don't need an equal sign because it asks for an expression, but it also asks for this to be simplified. And this can be simplified by foiling or just repeated distribution. So x times x is x squared plus 2x plus 3 times x is 3x plus 6. So the expression that would represent the area of the rectangle would be x squared plus 5x plus 6. So now if I knew what x was, I could just plug it in and find the area this way. So in this example, it says that we're designing a rectangular skate park that's on the corner of a city block, and it will have a walkway along 2 sides. So here's my walkway, which means my skate park is what's in here. And we want a polynomial that represents the area of the skate park. Well, the skate park is a rectangle, so to find the area of the skate park, we're going to need to do length times width. The problem is, I know that from here all the way across is 45. That's the width of the entire thing, including the walkway. And from here to here is 33. So that's that distance, including the walkway. So this red distance right here isn't quite 45. It's this 45, but if you cut out that x. So the length would be 45 minus x. And on this side, it's not the whole 33. It's 33 minus that x. And so now I'm going to simplify this by foiling. So the first thing I would do is 45 times 33, which is 1,485. I'm going to have plus negative 45x plus negative 33x plus x squared. Now when I rewrite this final answer combining like terms, I'm just going to reorder it so it goes highest to lowest, descending order. So x squared plus negative 78x plus 1485 would be my simplified expression that represents the area of the skate park. So now it says, what is the area if the walkway is 3 feet wide? And so what that's saying is from here to here is 3 feet, and from here to here is 3 feet. So I want to use my expression that I just came up with, x squared minus 78x plus 1485. And since this distance right here is x, and they're telling me it's 3, I can replace x with 3. So I have 3 squared minus 78 times 3 plus 1485, so that would be 9 minus 234 plus 1485, which comes out to 1,260, and since it's area, it is feet squared. So now to make sure that I actually have this right, and I know that it should come out to 1,260, I can actually go back here and make sure that it makes sense. So if this whole thing is 33, and the walkway is 3, that would mean that this distance right here is 30, because it would be the 33 minus the 3. And if the whole thing is 45, but I'm trying to find this, and this is 3, that would make this 42. So the dimensions of the skate park should be 42 by 30, and if you multiply those, you do get 1,260. So the fact that when you kind of do it using common sense, it matches what you get when you put x in here, tells you that this must be right. You're going to pause the video and try this one on your own. In this problem, you still are dealing with a rectangle, but this time it wants the total area. So it wants the area of the entire shape. You have the inside dimensions. One thing I just want to make note of is that from here to here is 8, but you have to extend on this side and on this side. Same thing, from here to here is 6, but then you have to extend on this side and on this side. So first you're going to need to figure out how long is this side, and you don't know actually how long it is, but you can write an expression for it. How long is this side? You can write an expression for it and then simplify it. Once you have that simplified expression, then you can figure out what it would be if the border was 2. Pause the video, press play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, so the first thing is, if this is 8, and this would be x plus 8 plus x, or 8 plus 2x, and this would be x plus 6 plus x, or 6 plus 2x. So then to find the area, you multiply length times width, and to do that you would FOIL, so you get 48 plus 12x plus 16x plus 4x squared. I combine like terms. Should have just been 28x, I apologize for that, just 28x. And I wrote it in descending order, so 4x squared plus 28x plus 48. So this should be the expression that I can now use to find the area of the entire ceramic tile. So then over here it says that, well, what if the width, this right here, is 2? So you replace x with 2. So don't forget to follow order of operations. 2 squared is 4, times 4 is 16, 28 times 2 is 56, and then plus 48, so we should get 120. So now I can kind of come back to the picture. Okay, so if from here to here is 8, and this is 2, if this is 2 and this is 2, then this whole thing would be 12. And if from here to here is 6, but then this is 2 and this is 2, this whole thing should be 10, and 10 times 12 is 120. So the fact that they came out the same tells me that this must have been correct, because I got the right answer by replacing x in there.